Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, head currency analyst. In this video we're going to go through the Forex market wrap, and I'm doing it a little bit earlier because we've had the NFP numbers just come out, and I know there was a couple of comments on the previous video about jobs and things like that, but I wanted to wait till after because the reason being I don't like trading non-farm payroll. I don't think that anybody should trade non-farm payroll. I think you should wait to see the dust settle and then make decisions in the next week. But we can see here that we've had pretty much the worst jobs numbers ever recorded. Okay, so you can see here the market was it's highlighted green. Okay, obviously these are the CAD employment numbers as well, but it's highlighted green on the news source that I'm using, and it'll probably be the same for whatever news source you're using. However, it's only highlighting green because it's beat the forecast. Okay, it's better than what's been forecast, but you can see here how much of a drop the jobs have gone from 870,000, and then look at the jobs number that we've had recently. Also, the unemployment rate has gone up by 14.7%. Now that is pretty outstanding, and you've got to look at it and say to yourself, well, has there been any stimulus packages or anything like that? Now, the only thing that we've really seen from the Fed is cutting of rates. Okay, now this is where it's going to be a little bit of a problem because we're seeing the cut in rates, but it's not really having a huge effect. Now if we go to our charts and we just go take a look at the Dow, for instance, it's hardly sort of budged. It's kind of, continuing to make its move to the upside. It's in a nice little bit of an uptrend currently. We was looking for some downside this week after we started seeing these daily closes. However, prices has pretty much ignored that and just started to move back to the upside. So I think the markets are in a little bit of a limbo still, looking for the market to kind of hit some key levels. And I still feel like maybe we're going to get that push up into the key 25,000 area. Okay, so this is the zone that we marked out before where the market retested, so I'm expecting maybe one more push up into this zone. I can't see why the market is still really holding where it is. Okay, so one second, let me just get rid of that. So yeah, essentially the market is basically just holding up here at the moment. If we actually go take a look at euro, dollar's a little bit stronger off the news, and maybe that's just because the forecasts were beaten. Okay, so we took our profit yesterday on euro. We were looking for price to obviously head down towards these key swing lows here, but as we saw yesterday, the dollar sold off aggressively, and we saw our Aussie get stopped as well as our other trade. But looking at euro, still pushing to the downside. The market is still favouring the dollar in this particular market. But it's just one of those where we're going to have to wait for the dust to settle here on euro, US dollar and other US dollar pairs, because that jobs number was pretty bad. Stimulus is still not really that clear from the Federal Reserve, so I'm still in a little bit of a limbo into why the market is still being held up. I feel like this is just waiting to really hit some lows. I mean, I'll be interested to see what the numbers are next month for the jobs data, but price on the Dow is somewhere coming back up towards these levels. Maybe we're going to start seeing that drop. I'm still expecting the stock markets to test these swing lows through here. Okay, so we're just gonna have to bide our time, wait a little bit longer, and see how the market reacts. But at the moment, it's just being propped up a little bit. Euro, like I said, also just finding that bit of dollar strength still. I was watching this daily candle, seeing if we could get a pullback again on our 4 hour into these lows up here, but that doesn't look likely. Actually looks like the dollar just had a bit of a reaction here where we've just seen a little bit of a spike, the dollar gained some value now and the dust is settling, are we going to start seeing those dollar sells re-enter the market? That's going to be interesting. And this is also why I think it's really, really important not to trade big news events like the non-farm payroll, because you just don't know how it's going to play out. Okay, and some people may have got long when they saw this initial breakout in here, and then they would have got stopped on the way down. Okay, so just be very, very careful when you're going to trade anything to do with non-farm payroll. Let's go check how the pound did this week. We were expecting price to come and retest these daily lows, and it did. So if you were looking for shorts this week on the pound, you would have done really, really well. Looking at the weekly time frame, again, we're just sitting at these weekly lows now. So is the market going to start pushing back below? And what we want to see is pound drop a little bit further and take out these lows here. If we take these lows out, then we're looking for further downside. Now, you've got to also remember, seasonality wise, the dollar is still very, very strong through May, and that's one thing that we still need to keep a note of, because if the dollar does continue to gain value, then we're going to have further shorting opportunities across our major currency pairs. We've just got to sit tight and see how the dollar plays out, okay? Aussie, unfortunately, broke to the upside, took us out. We were hoping this, or we were watching this 8-hour level to see if it would hold. Unfortunately, it didn't hold. Market pushed to the upside. If you go take a look at the weekly, once again, probably going to close within this candlestick range, which again still isn't hugely great for the Australian dollar, because if you're expecting price to continue, you'd expect prices to continue to form higher highs. We're not really seeing that on a weekly perspective, so what we could anticipate once again going into next week is that dollar strength to really drive through, and what's going to be really key are these swing lows down here. If price can take these swing lows out, then I'm expecting further downside from Aussie US dollar. It's just taken a couple of weeks for that strength to come through, but we'll just wait and see how the markets react. The Dow's obviously being moved to the upside, so it's very much risk on at the moment. If we go and take a look at let's go take a look at the DAX. Let's see how the European indices are faring. So yeah, even European indices are a little bit bid on the news as well. So very much risk on sentiment currently. We want to see that risk off coming through to really start buying or selling, sorry, the stock markets through here. So just be a little bit careful, and I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you soon.